Greetings and welcome to the podcast, Why Are You Sober? I'm your host, Sam, and yes, I am an alcoholic, and I'm also in recovery. This podcast is hopefully a place where we can come together, hear stories about recovery, gain some experience, strength, and hope, and continue exploring the joys of sobriety. If you would like to come on and tell your story, I would love that. You can get in touch with me at asonofrecovery@gmail.com. That is asonofrecovery@gmail.com. Or perhaps you're someone who is struggling with addiction, or you might know someone and you're not sure where to turn. You can also reach out. Addiction does not have to be a losing battle, and no one is alone. There are people and resources ready to help anyone who asks for it. And now, to start the show, let's open with the Serenity Prayer. Good and gracious friend, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. So thanks for listening to my teaser episode. This is so exciting. I am the host, Sam, and I am a sober alcoholic and have been sober for over 6 years. I thought a little introduction and background of myself and where this idea came from might be helpful. Well, back in 2020, in the early part of the COVID pandemic and shutdown, I started hearing and reading stories of the increase in addiction issues and how people were really struggling. While being in isolation with my husband, I really wanted to find a way to help people more with their struggles. Gratefully, in isolation, I wasn't alone as my husband was with me, who also doesn't drink. He's not sober, but he chooses not to drink because he doesn't enjoy what alcohol does to him, which I am very grateful for. So, I was in a sober house with support, but I kept thinking of others who were alone and how difficult that might be. An idea came to me, and I started recording myself reading sober literature, reflecting on that, and then posting those videos to Facebook and YouTube. Maybe you found my YouTube or Facebook group called A Son of Recovery. That is son as in S-O-N. People started following, and I kept reading literature for over a year. Then, all of a sudden, I had a brain hemorrhage. Seriously. So that put me on a journey of discovering I have a rare brain disease and went through 2 brain surgeries within a year. I tried recording and reading a little during that time, but it was difficult during my recovery. And also, I kept thinking about a podcast. I love podcasts. I was thinking about what might be helpful to others and how I listen to podcasts morning, noon, and night. I listen to it on my morning walks. I listen to them while I'm working. I listen to them while I'm driving in my car. So that is where I came up with the idea for Why Are You Sober? I'm setting out to interview sober addicts, hear their stories about addiction and what it did to their lives, talking about how they got sober, and then discussing why they are still sober today. What keeps them sober? The goal is to spread some experience, strength, and hope to others in recovery, but also perhaps help some people find sobriety and start on a path of recovery for themselves. Now, my addiction is alcohol, but I'm not looking to only interview alcoholics. I want to interview people from all addiction backgrounds to have a wide array of stories that are able to reach a large audience. Now, as a disclaimer, throughout the stories, people being interviewed may mention a specific recovery community they are a part of, such as Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, or perhaps groups regarding eating disorders, gambling, or sex. 12-step groups such as AA and NA specifically mentioned in the organization literature not to promote these groups over another and to remain anonymous regarding the media. While people will and may discuss their group specifically by name, they are not promoting it over another. They're simply telling their story, and a specific group is a part of their recovery. AA is a part of my recovery story, and I don't believe by discussing that I'm promoting it, but simply sharing what helped me in my life. There's no specific program and way to get sober. And there are a lot of programs out there, and something can help someone. Not every program will help everyone. It's just not possible. There is no such thing as a silver bullet when it comes to sobriety. So, I just wanted to make sure that was mentioned. This podcast is in no way, shape, or form endorsing or promoting a specific recovery program over another. While the 12-step program through AA worked well for me, it might not work well for another person. Now that that is out of the way, my hope is that Ways, or Why Are You Sober, will become a community of people who support each other and helps anyone who is looking for assistance. I'll begin distributing episodes at the beginning of January and already have a handful just about ready to go. I am definitely looking for anyone who would be interested in coming on and sharing their story. If you are a sober person with addiction and you want to come on and share your story, I would love to talk with you. So, starting in January, every Thursday, I'm going to start releasing episodes with my own story for the first episode. I'm so excited about some of the stories I've already gathered from other friends in recovery. This is going to be a really awesome adventure, and I hope you'll join me. Peace. Thank you for listening to this episode of the podcast, Why Are You Sober? If you would like to come on the show and share your story, I would love to talk with you regarding any addiction. This podcast is not just about alcohol addiction, but sobriety of any addiction. The more stories we have, the more stories people can relate to and gain some experience, strength, and hope. You can reach me at my email, asonofrecovery@gmail.com. That is ASONOFRECOVERY@gmail.com. Please subscribe and rate us, and as always, I'm wishing you all peace, love, and a whole lot of joy.